This is Let's Talk Teens, a parenting podcast sharing tips on raising amazing teenagers. We are both certified life coaches that have worked with teenagers as coaches, mentors, and teachers. We are sharing what we have found to work best when dealing with teens and tough issues. This is Let's Talk Teens with Abbi and Cheree, episode 23, Practicing Resilience with Your Teenager.
Abby, don't we all need a little bit more practice in resilience? I think we do. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, when you told me you're like, I want to talk about this, I was like, okay, I'm going to be taking notes because I always want to be more resilient, right? When anything comes my way.
Yeah, and I think it's something that we've noticed has decreased a little bit in society and amongst the young adults and teen generation. And I actually get defensive when, people talk bad about teenagers because I love them so much. But I do think it's something that is needed for this generation is to learn and practice resilience. I don't think they have the opportunity as much as we have in the past to learn it because we have so many conveniences at our fingertips and there's more opportunities to fix things quickly or just have things be comfortable. So it is something that needs to be practiced. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about some ways that we can help our teen practice resilience. It's something that we practice. It's not something that is just given overnight or that we can buy on Amazon. So how do we help our teens practice it? I think my number one thought is help our teens reframe their challenges to, okay, how is this an opportunity for improvement? Instead of having this mentality when they start talking about something that's hard or it's going wrong, being like, this is horrible, or getting sucked into it with them, really helping them look at it as an opportunity for improvement. Okay, this is happening. And yeah, it might really suck, but how do you think this is going to help you grow? Or how can you improve from this? Or, it's that reframing we talk a lot about, but reframing challenges from why is this happening to you to how is this happening for you and how can you grow from this?
I feel low key called out just because I hate growing experiences like this, right? Where it can feel like I failed or I got called out for some reason. And what came to my mind is before I was coaching, my professional experiences in like project management and advertisement. And I remember like getting the feedback, right? Like, okay, you need to be a little bit more detail oriented. And Cheree, I am like somebody like, let me start a project. I'm fast, I'm furious, I can get on this, but details are like a little hazy for me, right? And so that has been a years long journey, right? Of being more detail oriented. And it's come because of feedback, right? It's come because of hard experiences of a manager or a boss or somebody saying, hey, the ball was dropped here a little bit because, you weren't taking a minute to look at these details, right? Or things like that. And so it's hard, right, to admit and change from going, oh, I'm being picked on or oh, something's wrong with me to going, okay, no, this is somewhere that will help me if I improve. And that can be a hard pill to swallow.
It really can. And I think that's why, as a parents, we can model this behavior by sharing the things that we've learned in our setbacks. You know, as we have setbacks, we can share, oh, you know what I learned from this setback, or you know what, this was really hard. And I felt, it looked like I failed from this, or it looks like I, you know, had this challenge that was just going to destroy me. But you know what I learned from it? And you know what I learned about myself? And I think the more we as parents model this and share it with our family around the dinner table of saying, oh my goodness, I had this really hard experience, or I had this really big challenge. And you know what I learned from it? This, or this is what I learned about myself. As we vocally model that and speak that, it invites our kids to do the same. And maybe we even do that at the dinner table. Okay, everybody share a challenge that you're facing right now, or something that isn't going well, that's hard. And then let's just talk about what we're learning from it.
I love that idea because I feel like our youth, particularly, are inundated with images of perfection. So I scroll through Instagram and I just see somebody's highlight reel of how their life looks so perfect. And so then I get this idea in my head without even really realizing it that if my life doesn't look Instagram flawless, or man, this person has appeared like money flows to them and life flows to them and they have all these friends, right? Then I'm gonna get this idea that struggling means something's gone wrong or that I'm not good enough because I've had some challenges. And so I love this idea that no, we talk about that in our home that everybody's got challenges, nobody's perfect, and we all have room to improve and to work on, you know, being more resilient to the challenges that come our way.
Yeah, and I think having more conversations, like I said, whether it's at the dinner table, whether it's at a family night, whether it's just a 6 month evaluation of how our goals are going, or a yearly goal session as a family, I think it's really important to look at what looked like we were stumbling and failing and falling down as stepping stones for our growth. Okay, like what happened in the last month where it looks like you were stumbling or it looked like you failed, and instead of focusing on that, like, how was this actually a stepping stone? How did this actually lead me to success? How did it get me where I want to go? I know a ton of successful business owners that I've spoken to, or people who have found success in not just a career, but maybe in what they wanted in a family, or what they wanted in achieving a goal as far as like academically or in athletics, or just something that they wanted to achieve. I've asked so many people and I've talked to so many people about this. Like, what's your biggest tips for becoming successful in whatever it is that you want to become successful in? And almost all of them that have really achieved that goal have said, let yourself fail, and fail fast and often, and let those failures lead you to your success, because you cannot grow. You cannot achieve those ultimate outcomes in your life without those failures. They are stepping stones.
I do think that the ability to look back, right, at our life and our experiences is quite a mature skill. And your teen probably doesn't have enough literal life experience, like years to actually see this. So I think that is so powerful. And to, as an adult, as a parent, to say, listen, I wanted to be this when I grew up, and life helped me get over here, and that's okay. I think our teens are so tightly wound around an idea of what maybe their life has to look like, or success looks like a scholarship, or successful looks like I have a lot of friends. And so helping them kind of put together an idea of success can look like a lot of things, and that includes failing. That includes realizing, oh, I actually don't like doing this, or actually, I'm not really good at this. So let me try something else, or let me get better at this.
That just like segues right into my next point, is really allowing our teens to have a variety of experiences. Because we don't like feeling uncomfortable as humans, it's really easy to be like, okay, I'm good at this one thing. So I just want to stick with this because I know I'm not going to fail, or I know that I can, everyone knows that I'm really good at aerial silks. And so I'm just sticking with this one thing. And that's the only experience I'm ever going to have. By the way, I'm not good at aerial silks. I've
I was
never done
because
it a day
I
in my
want to
life.
do that.
No, I want to do that. I've never done that. Little side tangent, but anyway, one of my clients does, so that's what came to my mind. But really allowing our teens to have this variety of experiences. Let them have experiences where they're bad at something. None of us like to be bad at something, but it's so important. And if we look back on our lives, there's so many times we were bad at things. We at one time were bad at walking, Abby, and talking, maybe riding a bike, and maybe adding 1 plus 1. We might have been bad at being a teenager. I was, or being, being social. I think there's times when without these, not might be times, there's just times without these variety of experiences that we can't grow. And so letting ourselves be bad at things, letting our teens be bad at things, teaching them it's okay to be bad at this. Because I promise if you continue to do it and you have these new experiences, you'll get good at things. And that's what builds resilience, is actually letting yourself be bad.
That made me think. So when I was, oh man, young teen, like 13 or even 12, my grandpa had decided that I was going to be a golfer. He had heard somewhere that there's all these girl golf scholarships that just go unclaimed because there's not enough girl golfers, right? And golf was his world, right? And so he bought me like a club set, and he was gonna take me to go do golf, right? And I did not want to do that, right? And I realized the reason that I just like hated golf so deeply is I was terrible at it. Like horribly terrible. But I think the thing I didn't realize is that nobody picks up a golf club and is like really good at golf. Like that is something that does require like is not just, oh, I got beginner's luck and I did so well, right? It's a real skill you have to build. And at 13, I mean, I just thought I suck at this and I hate it. I don't want to do this because I'm so embarrassed, right? But I wish I could have taken a step back and gone, what did I expect? Did I expect that I would pick up this club and be amazing at this? Um, and I'm not even here to say that you should force your child to do that. I think one of the best things my parents did is they didn't expect me to like continue with golf or to like to do that. And so to the disappointment of my grandpa, like I didn't. I bowed out as soon as I could. But I just think that sometimes we have it in our brain and like these unrealistic expectations that if I'm not good at something, it means it's not for me. And that's not true. I shudder to think I could have maybe been a really good golfer had I stuck with it, but I wasn't willing to be bad at it.
Oh, yes, such a good point. Okay, I have two more. One, I just think it's important that sometimes as parents we get caught up in um, kind of that we need to be our only child's cheerleader or teacher or mentor. And I think we really miss some great support when we do that. And I think as a parent, what we can do to help our child be resilient is know there's always someone out there who's been where our child is has been, where they're struggling before. They've been there before, right? There's always someone out there to help them, either mentor them or coach them or help them uh, gain that resilience and become good at something or to overcome something. And so really allowing more people in your children's corner that they can seek for help and guidance and have mentors and have people to help them. That is a part of building resilience is knowing we don't have to do it by ourselves, that we have a team of people that are going to help us and support us in that. I just think that's really important.
I think that as a parent, you have to recognize that even though you are like the best resource to your teen and you have such great advice for them, sometimes they can't hear it from you. And it's not even that you aren't saying it right or anything like that. It's just they literally are not ready to receive it from you. And so often I'll have parents say, I'll be like, this is what we talked about in coaching, right? And then they'll be like, I've told them that a million times. I'm like, I know, it just needed to come from a different way, right? It needed to come from a coach or from somebody they look up to. And right now, my calling in the our church ward is that I'm in the young women's. And I love it because I get to know these girls. And I remember my young women's leaders had such a massive impact on my life. And to just know somebody was in my court besides my parents, I think as a teen, we discount that parental love because we're like, oh, they have to love us. They have to think I'm cool. But to have somebody in my neighborhood think I was cool and to spend time and get to know me, that was huge. So if you have that opportunity through church or school or community to have other mentors besides yourself for your teen, do it.
Yep, because you as that mentor to those young women in your ward get to help them practice resilience. So yes, mom and dad are helping them, but you are helping them too. I love it. Okay, last one, and we've kind of talked about this, but I want to be very specific, is making sure that you help your teen recall their past hurdles that they've overcome and you sharing those of your own because we want to celebrate success. Part of that resiliency isn't just, I mean, obviously we have to do the hard. That's part of the resilience is like getting up after we've fallen down. That's so hard. That's so challenging. But we don't want our brain just to think, okay, becoming resilient is hard. We want our brain to feel that pleasure of overcoming that and celebrating that success, celebrating that hurdle that we've overcome, celebrating that success that came after we fell down 10 times. And I think that's so important is celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. One of the things that neuroscientists have found over and over again is that we actually change for the better. We become stronger when we celebrate what we're doing right, our successes, and everything that we're becoming. And I think about this as I'm in the grandma stage, I know, but I have two grandkids that have just recently been potty trained and how we celebrate them so big when they don't have any accidents, right? And that seems so silly, but that's actually what's helping them become better at using the bathroom without accidents because they're being celebrated. We do that so much when kids are little. They start walking, we celebrate them. They start talking, we celebrate them. They learn a new skill, they learn to use scissors, and we celebrate them. And then what happens with our teenagers is they are having these major brain upgrades and they're learning so much. And what we do instead of celebrate that success and what they're learning and they're growing is we pick at what they're still doing wrong. And so I think it's so important that as a parent of a teenager, you celebrate any change, any resilience, any overcoming, any like where they just get back up and try again. I think that's so important because resilience isn't about never failing. That's just not the goal. We don't want these robot teenagers that never make mistakes. We want the goal is to rise each time they fall, right? Every time that something goes wrong. And so when we celebrate that rise, that's what's going to help them become better humans and know that they have you as their best cheerleader.
I don't know why. There's like this little parenting switch that turns off when our teen or our child's probably like 8, 9, 10, and we're like, oh, they don't need all that cheering on that they did when they were little, right? And that's not true. We need that cheering on. Cheree, I was just reminded, like today, I had a teen girl reach out to me and she shared this story that I feel like goes with resilience. She said that she had cheated on a history test and she'd gotten caught. And that, this had really rocked her world. This was out of character. She'd never done this before, but she was desperate and she cheated and she got caught. And she was emailing me to be like, okay, what do I do? How do I get these people to like me again? How do I get my teacher to trust me again? And I responded back to her. I said, guess what? You kind of don't, right? Like you might the cost of cheating on your test might be that your teacher doesn't trust you again, right? Or that they don't like you as much. Because that was her thing. She's like, I want my teacher to still like me, right? And I think that in talking about resilience, part of that and what I counseled her, I said, you know what? You make it right and then you move on. And you go, oh my gosh, I cheated on my history test and that was so dumb of me. And yeah, now this teacher, she does not like me, but guess what? I don't blame her and that's okay. And I move on from my life. And that doesn't have to be that I'm a cheater the rest of my life because I cheated on my history test. It's I made a mistake and that was dumb. And you know what? I forgive past Abby that did that and I'm moving forward. And that's a hard skill to learn, right? Forgiveness of ourselves is hard, but teaching our teens like just because you made a mistake and you cheated on your history test, that doesn't have to be the story for the rest of your junior year. It doesn't even have to be the story for the rest of your month. It can just be I made this right and I'm doing my best and I'm not going to do that again.
And moving forward, I'm no longer stuck, right? It's just moving forward, getting back up, being resilient, and trying again. I love it.
Okay, parents, well, thank you for joining us, and we cannot wait to see you on our next episode. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Teens with Cheree Murdock and Abbi Winslow. If you are looking for more tips to help your teenager, here's where you can find us. You can find Cheree Murdock on Instagram at Cheree Murdock Coaching or on her website, ChereeMurdock.com. You can find me, Abbi, on Instagram as Abbi Winslow or on my website, AbbiWinslow.com. Please rate and review our podcast and share with a fellow parent. Thanks for listening.